Hey guys, welcome back to it. Welcome back to Porter's Network Room, and today we are actually going to talk about ACVI, Switched Virtual Interface. Actually, guys, this is a layer 3 protocol, and this is something that is actually being used in the layer 3 devices. This is Cisco 3500 and above series, and they're actually able to do some Inter VLAN routing. In the previous video, we actually talked about Inter VLAN routing and we're using router on a stick. But today we're actually trying to look at the topology that can actually give us the same Inter VLAN routing but using a Cisco layer 3 switch. So let's pull up a layer 3 switch here. So this is a layer 3 switch, guys. Brand new layer 3 switch. We've not done any configurations on it, so we're just going to need like two pieces for this. And guys, as I'm configuring this, as I'm setting up the basic settings, I'll be explaining why we are actually doing this. So we actually, in the previous videos, we talked about VLANs, and we said to say that VLANs are separate entities of broadcast domain, and in a VLAN we are unable to actually communicate with the other VLANs. So that was the discussion, but the question may be, why are we actually in need of this communication? We say to say that we actually need to reduce the broadcast domain when we are creating a VLAN, but why are we intercommunicating between a VLAN? Why is it necessary? So in the previous video, we actually had elaborated on that, and we say to say that the reason why we need to actually communicate between a VLAN is simply because we need to actually share resources in this public network. You find to say that we've got a file saver in the other VLAN, and we need to access that file saver in the other VLAN. So that resource mobilization, you find to say that, is what is going to enable us to actually enter to actually form inter VLAN routing for us to be able to communicate in that matter. Okay guys, so we've got these two machines. One machine is 192.168.10.10 and it's actually in VLAN 10, and we've got 172.22.7.93 and we're putting this dude in VLAN 20. So we've done some basic topology here. We're connecting devices all together. My bad about that, I didn't do that before the time of record, but it may be pretty handy for somebody who don't know how to actually do this. Try to actually increase a bit. Let me try to zoom in a bit. Awesome things. Okay guys, so here we are. So when we are talking about SVIs, guys, one thing that we need to do is to actually just focus on the layer 3 switch, because the layer 3 switch is be able to actually communicate both on layer 2 and on layer 3. On layer 2, of course, being communicating with frames, and layer 3 communicating with high Ps. But how is it going to communicate with high Ps on layer 3? That's the reason why we call it SVI. We're going to create some logical interfaces on these VLANs that we're going to add some IP addresses to for this VLAN to communicate to the other VLAN. So let's dig into it. First thing that we need to do on the switch is to create first thing that we're going to do on the switch is to actually create the VLANs. You can see that they actually know VLANs here, and it's gonna be pretty fast on it because of time, guys. So to create a VLAN, you should watch the previous videos. We actually had talked about creating VLANs. Actually, guys, we've seen to say that FA001 is actually belonging to VLAN VLAN 10. So for us to create a VLAN, all you need to do is to issue this command VLAN 10, and you can name the VLAN as cells there. You can exit out of the interface. You can go to the port that you want to actually put that VLAN under. You can go to interface FA0/1, interface FA0/ whatsoever port is there, and you are going to issue a switch port mode access to tell the switch that this is an access port, and we're going to say switch port access VLAN 10. Doing this will simply mean to say that we have actually put that port into VLAN 10. So let's create VLAN 20 now. So on VLAN 20 we do the exact command that we did, but on that we are actually putting the VLAN ID as 20, and we now can also name it as engineering shorthand, and we can exit out of this interface, and we can actually go to interface. Where did we put PC PC2 FA10? So we can go to interface FA0/10, and on this interface we're actually going to say switch port mode access, and we're going to say switch port access VLAN 20. That being done, we can actually do show VLAN, and we can see that we have got this port in VLAN 10 and this port in VLAN 20. But the main focus of this video, guys, is SVIs, and this is where we get to SVIs. So for us to actually interrupt between the VLANs on a layer 3 device, we're supposed to actually create the logical interfaces. How do we create the logical interfaces? You can actually go to interface VLAN 10. You can see to say that line protocol of the interface VLAN 10 change status to app. So we've created this logical interface, and this is where we can now add the IP address, which is going to be 192.168.10.1. We're using /24 there, and we have actually created this logical interface, and we have actually added the IP address into it. What we can do is that we can exit out of this interface, and we can create another logical interface, which is interface VLAN 20, and of course change states to app here. You can see that, and we're actually going to add the IP address into it. Say IP add, and this one is 192.22.7.1 using /23 subnet mask, and we're actually going to save our configurations. And guys, the last command that we're actually supposed to issue is IP routing, because these are two this is one command that you never should forget after you actually creating your interface, your switched interface, your switch feature interface. So now once you actually do that IP routing command, you can actually even do show IP route, and to be able to show you that, you can see that we have the direct connected routes here on VLAN 20 and on VLAN 10. So now that we have done that, actually we can say that we are able to ping both interfaces. So we can ping 172.22.7.1, and of course, yes, we're able to ping and successful 100%. And we are also able to ping this other interface, which is 192.168.10.1, and of course our success rate is 100%. Having done that, actually, guys, we can be able to do some ping on the actual devices. You can ping 172.22.7.93, which is the other PC. We should be able to fail on the first ping due to the app request, and the last 4 packets should be sent. Another attempt should actually give us 100% success rate, guys. So that's how we actually That's how we do history high configuration, guys. This is layer 3 Inter VLAN routing. And if this has been resourceful for you, please do hit that like button and hit the subscription button for you to actually be part of the family. Another video is actually coming up, and we're actually going to look at a number of diverse technologies in the upcoming video. I've not actually yet planned for it, but I will do plan for it in this season so that we should actually do some IP services. As we had said in the previous video, we're actually going to do some IP services before we move on in these series videos. Thanks for watching and do have a good one. Shalom.